080993341. It's broadcasting live on Joy 99.7 FM, also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country on ABN Radio in London and around the world at myjoyonline.com. The news is brought to you by Telisol 4G, proudly Ghanaian. Telisol just a touch, and UMB Bank, UMB Speed Up, Digibank. Let's go. Coming up, second Deputy Speaker and NDC flag bearer aspirant Alban Gbagbin says comments he made about the appointment of some members of former President Mahama's administration was not meant to slight them.
I'm doing so because of the importance I attach to our relationship, not because I'm admitting that I've said something wrong.
We'll hear from him as some persons with disability rushed to his defense. Also, lawyers for leading CPP member Kwabena Bonfe filed for injunction to restrain government from going ahead with construction of National Cathedral.
You are introducing this nation to danger. You are going contrary to law. In my opinion, please stop. And I'm begging of the Supreme Court to grant me my pleas.
And Accra High Court orders Registrar General's Department to return all assets in its possession belonging to the Ghana Football Association.
Understanding that was signed between the FIFA President and the Minister for Youth and Sport. It was clearly indicated that the Normalization Committee will replace the current GFA Executive Committee.
We'll get an update from the court as government reviews investigative bodies handling the criminal aspects of the matter are yet to conclude their work.
You know, also in sports, Deputy Attorney General has revealed that FIFA will, in the next 2 days, announce members of the Normalization Committee to steer the affairs of the Ghana Football Association.
And as Ghana marks the 40th anniversary of the death of former Prime Minister Kofi Abrifa-Buzia, we bring you a special report on the life of the late statesman. Bernice Abubeidu, thanks for your company. The second Deputy Speaker and NDC flag bearer aspirant Alban Gbagbin says comment he made about the appointment of some appointees of former President Mahama were not meant to slight them. Mr. Gbagbin was heard in a leaked tape blaming the NDC's defeat in the 2016 elections on factors including the appointment of visually impaired Dr. Seydou Dona as Chieftaincy Minister and as stammerer Dr. Edward Omane-Boama as Communications Minister. The comments have been condemned by a section of the public. But as at a news conference in Accra today, the Nadoli Kalio MP said the comments were taken out of context.
On my arrival, I started calling all those I felt would have been hurt by the misconstruction of what I said in the Volta region. I've been able to get in touch with some. I personally apologize to them, even though they said after hearing my voice and what I said, they felt I never offended them. I've not been able to reach to all of them because the numbers are not getting through. It's likely that some are not in the country. But I will continue not only to use the telephone, but also to get in personal touch with them, to apologize to them. And to the elders and leaders of my party. I'm doing so because of the importance I attach to our relationships, not because I'm admitting that I've said something wrong. What I did in my speech is to admit that it is not all things that you say in public. That was clear. I apologize for not coming early to clarify the situation. And I gave the reason that I wasn't in the country. I was on an official trip. I also apologize for whatever the misconstruction, misrepresentation, the political might have caused to Ghanaians and to those particular persons. Those are the apologies I rendered.
You just heard Second Deputy Speaker and NDC flag bearer aspirant Alban Gbagbin. Let's go live on the line and speak to Kwesi Parker-Wilson, who's at that news conference. Now, Kwesi, help us with some clarity because it's not quite clear. Has Mr. Gbagbin apologized for his comment or he apologized for responding late to the criticisms against him?
Dennis, let me just say that Mr. Gbagbin actually apologized for the late response, and he mentioned that the reason why he gave or he decided to come with a response at the latter part is because he was out of the country. But for him, he still stands by his comments, and that he believes that his comments were quoted out of context. He was only referring to the leadership style of the former president, John Dramani Mahama, for appointing some individuals, of course, to certain ministries that they were not supposed to be there. So for him, definitely what he said was right, but he wasn't supposed to even come out with those comments in the first place. So one can easily conclude that he is justifying the comment he made.
And so he said these persons were assigned to inappropriate ministries.
Exactly, and of course he made reference to Dr. Sedi Dana, Chieftaincy Ministry, and also Omani Buama, the communications minister at the time.
Kwesi, we also understand that persons with disability who were at that news conference rushed to his defense. Tell us about that.
Yes, a group called Restore Disability Foundation, where present now. We are told that Mr. Gbagbin has been their patron since 2015, and he has contributed to the success of the foundation. So for them, they were quite taken aback when the society or the public were agitating or was actually angry that Mr. Gbagbin made those comments. For them, they don't see Mr. Gbagbin that way, but rather he's been working to significantly improve the lives of persons with disability.
It was 2015, 18th July, which we came to Honorable Gbagbin. Then we discussed concerning this project for disability. So that, we Honorable said, you heard it. So, wow, if this is coming to save disabilities, then I must show leadership. So I will not say much. The video itself talk, and everything here talk for Honorable. Honorable can never against disabilities. Honorable writer support in disability project and art development.
Well, Kwesi, we also understand that Mr. Gbagbin has been responding to concerns about how his comments would affect his chances of winning the flag bearership race. What did he have to say about that?
Yeah, clearly, I mean, you listen to some political commentators and political analysts aware of the view that the comment definitely would jeopardize his chances because as Second Deputy Speaker of Parliament, he has a lot of credibility. And because of these comments, his credibility and integrity is fast eroding. But he disagrees. He believes that this has rather positioned them in a better place to even emerge victor of the flag bearership.
We need to change the way we do things. And I shared my vision with them. And I provided very simple solutions to some otherwise serious challenges in this country. And they marveled a lot of them, including the chiefs of Water. And so I believe all this is done just to try and muddy the waters and undo all the good things that I did in the region. That is all. This is politics in Ghana for you.
You heard Second Deputy Speaker of Parliament Alban Gbagbin there. Away from that, leading member of the Convention People's Party, Kwabena Bomfe, says he has directed his lawyers to file for injunction to restrain government from going ahead with the construction of a national cathedral. Government has come under heavy public criticism after it emerged that many residents whose homes are situated on a vast stretch of prime land to be used for the cathedral, including 9 judges, have been served letters to vacate the area immediately. Mr. Bomfe, who filed a writ at the Supreme Court, believes government's plan violates the Constitution. He was speaking on PM Express on Multi-TV with Nana Ansakwa last night.
You are introducing this nation to danger. Please stop. You are going contrary to law. In my opinion, please stop. And I'm begging of the Supreme Court to grant me my place. Once they grant me that, I am sure that we would all see the finality of this matter. And that is why I'm surprised that attempts are being made, or as we speak, the appeals court judges who live within the residences around that area should leave or move. Why? Because you're going to put up a national cathedral, which is a subject before the Supreme Court.
Well, the Supreme Court hasn't declared yet, so
yes, but that is the more reason why you must stop.
Oh, but there's no injunction on them to stop.
So I've taken note of that, maybe because I haven't. So I've advised my lawyers that we should go for an injunction to restrain the government from further activity. And I'm sure in the next few hours or so, don't be surprised to hear that we've served, a notice for an injunction to be moved.
Are plans not too far advanced, as they say in the same political circles, to put a stop on it now?
You see, Nana, when
provisions have been made for the judges to move, all these things are in place.
Those are all, if you like, sequential, or they are follow-ups to the fundamental breach. I want to tackle the fundamental breach. Once we arrest the fundamental breach, all the others will fall in line.
Leading member of the CPP, Kwabena Bonfe, speaking to Nana Nsakwao there. Meanwhile, Executive Director of the Center for Democratic Development, CDD Ghana, Professor H. Kwesi Prempeh, is attributing the President's announcement of the proposed site for the construction of the National Cathedral to the lack of limitations on the powers vested in him by the Constitution. He spoke on the Super Morning Show.
It does not appear to me that this adventure that the state wishes to embark upon in collaboration with church is actually a necessary one. The Constitution makes the president the trustee of public land, but it appears there are no rules around what the president could do with the land. And this is potentially worth millions of dollars. And then that's it. No legislation about it, no debates, I think that it speaks to just the absence of real limitations on presidential power. So what if the next president comes and wants to do another land for something else? So it appears that the president is the allocator of land, the donor of land, can do anything. And this is not any one president. This is just the nature of our presidency. It's just we need to decongest the power that the president has. And there has to be some rules around the use of these kinds of powers.
That was Executive Director of the Center for Democratic Development, Professor H. Kwesi Prempeh. Now, an Accra High Court has ordered that the Registrar General's Department returns all assets in its possession belonging to the Ghana Football Association. The court has also revoked its earlier order appointing the Registrar General, Jemima Owari, as the official liquidator of the association. This follows Deputy Attorney General Godfred Yeboah-Dame's application asking that the court withdraws a petition seeking to liquidate the football body. The motion for liquidation was filed following the broadcast of a documentary by investigative journalist Anas Aremeyaw Anas detailing corruption in football. Joseph Akable was in court and joins me in studio. Joseph, run us through what transpired in court, because we do know that FIFA has reached an agreement with government on the matter.
So the Deputy Attorney General Godfred Yeboah-Dame first explained why they want to discontinue the case. He said they had agreed with FIFA to set up a committee to steer the affairs of football. Now that will lead to some reforms which meet the very purpose they wanted to achieve by filing that case in court, and it rendered it useless, for which reason they decided to withdraw this particular case. The lawyers for the Ghana Football Association did not oppose the request by the government asking that the case be discontinued.
As I indicated in the understanding that was signed between the FIFA president and the Minister for Youth and Sport, it was clearly indicated that the Normalization Committee will replace the current GFA Executive Committee, and that they will assume the powers of the GFA Executive Committee. They will review the statutes of the GFA, and then in due course, accordingly, they will organize elections for a new GFA.
Well, Joseph, we also understand that related to this are recent concerns about the slow pace of investigations into the criminal aspect of the matter. What did the Deputy Attorney General tell you on that?
He rejected any suggestion that they've abandoned it entirely. He simply says they want the bodies to do a good job before they take the matter to court.
Well, the investigations are ongoing, and I do not think that we have to push the investigative bodies to arrive at it. They do things in accordance with their procedures and law. And further to that, FIFA and government of Ghana agreed to set up a special task force, as I indicated. And where the infractions border upon a violation of the domestic laws of Ghana. For example, if a person takes money and is clearly seen to be in a way as to order on the commission of a crime as stealing, fraud, and what have you, that person will be sanctioned in accordance with the domestic laws of Ghana.
Deputy Attorney General Godfred Yeboah Dame there. We'll bring sports early today because we have something related to this, Ridwan.
Yes, Godfred Dame spoke on also other issues relating to the GFA. Remember that after the trip to Zurich, where himself and also members of government visited World Football Governing Body, FIFA asked that they withdraw the case from court, which they've done. The next step is the formation of the Normalization Committee. Now, this ad hoc committee is supposed to supervise the activities of the Ghana Football Association between now and for a period where elections will be conducted, a new president and also members of the executive committee, will be put in place to take charge of Ghana football. Now, Godfred Dame revealed that FIFA will in the next 2 days, announce members of the Normalization Committee.
Within the next 2 days, I'm very sure about that, FIFA will constitute the Normalization Committee. It's a decision that we took in Zurich without any controversy, and I'm sure it's going to be carried out. Within the next 2 days, we'll have the announcement of the Normalization Committee set up by FIFA and Ghana government, and the membership will be made known to the public, and then they will assume the powers of the GFA.
You heard Godfred Dame there. We'll getting reactions also from the Ghana Football Association, especially those outside and key members, workers, that's salary staff of the GFA also on reactions to this.
Thank you, Ridwan Asante. They're away from football. Chief Executive Officer of the GNPC, Dr. KK Sapong, has dismissed allegations of conflict of interest against him in the purchase of property from his former company, Global Haulage. Dr. Sapong is a former group CEO of the private firm. Now, he's said to have authorized the payment of $7.5 million for a cluster of flats for GNPC staff in a gated community at Chapel Hill, Takrady. But Dr. Sapong says he recused himself from negotiation relating to the property and only offered to pay after the necessary due diligence by the board.
That when you are connected to an institution, it doesn't mean you cannot do transaction with the institution. It depends on the disclosures you make.
But then again, yes.
If I had kept it to myself, that I didn't know anything about the institution, and I did the negotiations of the transaction, that would have been really conflict of interest. I know the institution. I disclose that I know the institution. I do not get involved in the negotiations. I didn't do the evaluation. I didn't do the negotiations. It's done by a separate committee, which I recuse myself. They bring the report to the board. The board approves it. My role as chief executive, I'm paying. That is not conflict of interest.
Well, it also emerged that pre-audit had not been done before the payment, but Dr. Sapong says he considered an urgent request by Global Haulage, a sister company of defunct Royal Bank, to authorize the transaction.
You must look at the details of the transaction. If I did a negotiation, that's different. I did not do the negotiation. The board has got a subcommittee which looks at properties and acquisitions. They look at
Dr. Sapong, you mentioned earlier that you needed to take this unusual step because the vendor needed the money. Was this need related to the injection of capital into Royal Bank?
Well, for whatever reason, I wouldn't know. You bought your property, you've executed all the documents, they brought their invoice for payment, your staff is not there. Who is holding it? And therefore, you say they should not be paid. If they took the money and they were injecting into the Royal Bank, so be it. But there will be nothing wrong with it because they've sold their property properly to us. And if they get the money and they inject into the Royal Bank to save it, what is wrong with it? I resigned from the Royal Bank about 2 years ago. Please.
Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, Dr. Sapong there. You're listening to the Midday News on Joy 99.7 FM. Later, we hear from some of the guest performers who would be on the big stage come Friday for Adom Praise as they promise an unforgettable experience.
I'm super excited to be part of this year's Adom Praise. And so Ghanaians should wait for it.
You coming there to experience the aroma and the presence of God, it will make the difference.
That is a sweet sound of excellence. That is the sound from Mack. Yes, Mack Ghana is the #1 distributor of the world's best quality Isuzu and Chevrolet vehicles in Ghana. Isuzu trucks from 1.5 tons to heavy-duty vehicles. Isuzu buses from 15 to 33 seaters, double and single cabin pickup, available in automatic and manual transmissions. We also stock a wide range of Chevy cars, from SUVs, sedans, and small cars, fully loaded with exquisite specifications. All our range of vehicles stand out due to its high fuel efficiency, safety, luxury, spacious interior, world-class delivery, and after-sales servicing. What's more, we offer flexible payment terms to meet your pocket. Mack Ghana is a sole distributor for Isuzu trucks and pickups, as well as all range of Chevrolet cars in Ghana. Call us on 0302-813-919 in Accra or 0242-039-550 in Kumasi. Visit our website at mackghana.com. Mack Ghana, with you for the long run.
Thanks for staying on the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM with me, Benis Abubedu. We continue our focus on assessing government's progress made in tackling sanitation and filth following President Akufo-Addo's pledge to make Accra the cleanest city in Africa by the end of his first term. Today we put the spotlight on Medina and La Paz, both suburbs of Accra, from where Efua Evans-Chinwi brings us Joy News Agenda.
Take a stroll through the principal streets of places like Medina and La Paz, and you are likely to be greeted with heaps of refuse dumped along various sections of the road, with its smell polluting the environment. Some residents say this is very disturbing.
Since last year, even years before, it has remained how it is. It has never changed because the gutters are still like that.
You know, formerly they used to clean the gutters every Saturday. 1 week on the 10th Saturday of every month, but now they have stopped.
At some lorry stations at La Paz and Medina, some of the passengers are turned away by the foul smell emanating from the drains. Here, litter is scattered all over and people look on unconcerned. The drivers here at the La Paz lorry station say they've had to gather and collect the trash by themselves whenever there is a litter buildup.
This sanitation problem is very huge problem in our station here. So we executive of the Ngoso and GPR2U executive, we organize the women who are trading here so that every morning and every evening they used to sweep and gather the rubbish at the one place so that early morning vehicle will come and convey it to the baller side. And normally we make it monthly, and every month we used to pay 4,000 Ghana cedis every month. And that is the money that we are spending every month.
Isn't it worrying to see such unpleasant scenes in our capital cities? For Joy News, my name is Efua Evans-Chinwi.
And that was today's edition of Joy News Agenda. He has been described as the doyen of rural development in the country and credited with the introduction of national service and other programs that helped bridge the rural-urban gap. And later today, the governing MPP will organize a lecture to celebrate the legacy of Ghana's Prime Minister in the Second Republic, Kofi Abrefa-Busia. As we build up to the event, my colleague Elton Brobe looks back on the life of the man.
His adaptability of ideas, his generosity of nature, his tenacity of purpose, his transparent honesty, all these were qualities which stood him in good stead.
Busia's entry to politics started in 1951 when he was elected by the Ashanti Confederacy to the Legislative Council, and 1952 as leader of Ghana's Congress Party, who he later merged with other opposition parties to form the United Party. He became the main opponent to first President Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. He fled the country when he felt his life was in danger, but will return later in March 1966 when Nkrumah was overthrown. Busia formed the Progress Party when the ban on politics was lifted by the National Liberation Council. His party went on to win the parliamentary elections with 104 out of the 105 seats, making him the Prime Minister. Those who remember him, like former Ambassador Dr. Amonum, Professor Ofosu, and Chairman of the Council of Elders of the MPP, C.K. Tedem, says he was the best that ever happened to Ghana.
And his government was a model. By our standards, it was a model, respected all over the world.
That was the only regime and period in the history of this country, until the Kufuor regime, that there had not been any political detainees or prisoners.
Even the so-called big men like Kwame Nkrumah, Godima, Kojobosio, they all sit quiet. If you drop a pin, cling, everybody will hear. Because they all want to hear what he has. He speaks wisdom.
Former President John Ajako Nkrumah was given a taste of public life in 1969 when at age 31, he was made Deputy Foreign Minister by Dr. Buzia. According to him, his success in politics could be attributed to him.
He was such a rare personality in the then Gold Coast. And all school children who aspired to be scholars and things like that dreamt of becoming a Buzia in the future.
Elton Brobe's reports. Now, this afternoon's lecture to celebrate the legacy of Dr. Buzia will be chaired by former President John Kufuor, with President Akufo-Addo delivering the keynote address. Now, 3 single-sex halls of residence at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology have for the first time in decades received occupants of the opposite sex. The conversion of the all-male university and unity halls, as well as the female-only Africa halls, into mixed facilities comes despite resistance from the university and unity halls. Security on campus has been beefed up as students arrive. Love FM's Kwesi Deborah has been to the halls to interact with them.
Bernice Bafo is first-year English language student, resident of Unity Hall, known as Conti, until now an all-male facility.
I hope please give me the charger. No, the white one. This one.
Together with her roommate, she's one of 1,000 females expected to reside here, along males.
So I checked and I had Unity Hall. I didn't know much about the hall, so I sent it to a friend in the school, and I told him I had Unity Hall, and he was like, hey, I'm dead. And I was like, why? He said they didn't want girls here because if you come, they'll maltreat us and beat us or do something bad to us.
I felt a bit uneasy because it was like I already heard news, I already heard rumors that they were about to change the male halls into a mixed hall, and then it was kind of scary because they were sending us pictures, they were trying to scare us. So I was really scared because
heavy security deployment on reporting day did a lot to allay their fears.
Kwesi Deborah with that report. Now, if you don't come for this year's Adom Praise, you certainly miss an awesome encounter with God. That's according to our headline artists who promised to thrill patrons. Listen to Elder Mriku, Dinah Hamilton, and the fantastic duo Willie and Mike.
To say that I'm excited is an understatement. I am super excited. So actually, I had to add super to it. I'm super excited to be part of this year's I've been praised. And I'm believing God for a wonderful time. The timing of God is just perfect. And so we're believing Him for a great time, a wonderful time in His presence. You be Him. And so Ghanaians should wait for it.
For me, I don't praise. Come and experience yourself. You coming there to experience the aroma and the presence of God, it will make the difference.
And I say no more now. Metro.
This year, no, I don't praise me. Can't home. Because I do beer.
I thank God for my inclusion in the list of performers for Adom Praise 2018. I call on all my fans and gospel music lovers to attend Adom Praise. When we come to His presence, He anoints us for His work.
Just a teaser of what to expect. Adom Praise 2018 comes off this Friday at Perez Dome. Do get your tickets here at the Multimedia Group. Mapito, you're smiling. What's trending?
Well, the National Cathedral is trending. And at Biggie Bone says,
After building a national cathedral, the president should consider putting up a national mosque. But at Kojan Kantisia says, why on earth does Ghana need a national cathedral? I'm confused. And at My Nikwe says, the national cathedral project must go on. And the conversation goes on Facebook and Twitter. We are Joy News on TV and Joy 99.7 FM.
And also, we know that Bagbin has been trending. Do send in your comments also on him on the Joy 99.7 FM page. Your views are welcome. And that's how we end this edition of the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. I'm Bernice Abubeidu. Do enjoy the rest of your day.